my ass like that.
Good body kick by Congo. Oh, good knee to body by Congo. Another one. This is by far the best Czech Congo we've seen. Absolutely. We saw Czech Congo hand Mirko Krokop an excellent defeat. Did a great job in that fight, using his reach, utilizing good knees in the clinch, leg kicks.
The victory raised Congo's profile in the U.S.
Fighting out of Paris, France, Czech Congo!
In June, Czech Congo took on knockout machine Pat Barry. The result was unforgettable.
Checked. Oh, big right hand! Pat Barry looking to finish!
I'd say Czech lost consciousness maybe once or twice.
It's over!
I lost my balance, but I wasn't out. And so I have to move, I have to react right away.
The whole time he was down, he was conscious, he was looking, he was aware, he was moving.
Wow! It looked like he was out. Oh, he's out. Nope, still up!
He tried to finish me, so I have to react right away.
Great job done by Czech Congo!
I can't let him hit me like this and give me more trouble.
Barry looking to finish. He got Barry! Pat Barry's down!
He threw the uppercut in the right hand, and they both landed flush on target with immense power.
It's all over! Oh, my goodness! Has knocked out Pat Barry! That is one of the craziest stoppages I have ever seen!
We went from a huge emotional swing, it was like dread to like elation in like this.
Unbelievable!
It's one of the best comebacks I've ever seen in my life.
The winner by knockout,
I've never seen nothing like it before.
Czech Congo! Holding a perfect professional record of 14 wins with no losses. Standing 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds, 14.6 stone, fighting out of Liverpool, England's own.
Before every fight, Michael Bisping receives a royal introduction.
Michael
My old manager, he thought it'd be a good idea as a fight name, you know, which I was dead against, but he told the ring announcer on my first professional fight, and as I walked out, he announced me as the Count, and it just kind of stuck since there, really.
Despite his regal nickname, Michael the Count Bisping grew up in modest circumstances in the north of England.
Castles, greenery, rain, fog, sheep, cows.
It's an area traditionally of strong working class roots, of people who fight hard for a living.
We're very loud, we like to say what we want, where we want, and we like to let ourselves be known wherever we are.
Is this the best pizza in New York? He's a salesman. This guy, boom! Everybody thinks everybody up north is all a bit backward and a bit stupid.
Has everything, chicken, sausage, corona, America.
What? I'm sure maybe I perpetuate the myth a little bit sometimes.
He's very loud and strong, you know what I mean? That's what Lancashire's all about.
Just being a G.
As a young jiu-jitsu champion, Michael often left Lancashire to compete in tournaments.
My dad used to take him all over, doing jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and stuff, and he always used to win.
Michael quit jiu-jitsu at 16 and mastered a new sport.
He said to me, "Oh, I'm taking kickboxing up." He found a local club, joined it, won the British title.
But Michael was now 18, and in 1990s Britain, career opportunities for martial artists were limited.
There was no way I was going to make money out of it. I suppose that's kind of why I drifted out of it a little bit. Where I live, you know, in the northwest of England, there's not much else to do. People just go to the pub and start drinking. I suppose I kind of fell into that lifestyle.
For Michael, that lifestyle meant drifting from one job to another.
When me and Michael met, Michael was DJing most of the time. He was kind of in and out of a few jobs, never really found his forte as such.
He did Thailand for a while.
Demolition work.
I worked in a factory.
Construction.
We used to work at a slaughterhouse.
Building.
Fabric upholstery.
Forklift truck driver.
He was going door to door, selling things.
To be honest, I was going nowhere fast.
By that time, we'd had our second child. So he kind of took stock of his life and thought, I need to do something drastic.
He actually phoned me up and said his plan was to start MMA. He said, well, I don't want to be sitting on this settee in 10 years.
It's time! George St. Pierre entering the octagon! Oh, he's hit badly. Here we go! Bang! Tonight! McDonald teeing away! Jason McDonald! Wow, what a powerful takedown! Before. Wow, indeed. Hi again, everybody. I'm Mike Goldberg.
Tous les moyens de UFC.
Impone una nuova marca.
The UFC 129 mettant en vedette
3000 Houston.
That is incredible. For the first time ever, the Octagon has come north of the border. Bell Center sold out tonight. UFC has returned to Canada. A UFC record crowd, 23,000.
Canada's the mecca of mixed martial arts.
A new attendance record, 55,000. It's great to be back in Canada. Back in Canada. Back in Canada. It's all inside of me. It's all inside of me. It's all inside of me.
Hello, Canada. I love you guys.
Click, click. Oh, huge knockout for Sam. Oh, my God. Oh, bam. Goodness! Wow! This place is deafening! Click, boom!
Thank you and good morning. My name is Peter Bissonnette and I'm the president of Shaw Communications. And on behalf of everyone at Shaw, we'd like to welcome you to the Shaw Court, along with members of the media and some of our employees who have joined us today. We're very, very excited to host the UFC today. Together we've had one of the longest standing and strong relationships and are proud to be one of their largest affiliate partners. We're proud to deliver the content and for our cable and satellite customers who thrive on every UFC event. I remember when I was coming down the floor here today, somebody said to me, Peter, do you like UFC? I said, I love UFC. In fact, I used to train in Shotokan Karate in Vancouver, and I appreciate what these guys go through to get to the level that they're at. And so today is a tremendous accomplishment for them. This summer, the UFC will be bringing exciting events to Calgary, and following those dates, we'll be in Toronto and Montreal. And today, we're happy to welcome the fighters participating in the upcoming event, Jose Aldo and Eric Koch, who's the challenger, along with our first speaker, who's a great friend of Shaw's. A gentleman who has spent the entirety of his career developing and delivering sports to people across the country. He has spent time with Adidas, the Solomon Group, and is the former commissioner of the CFL, Go Lions Go. He also devotes his time to working with individuals with disabilities as the chairman of the Special Olympics Canada. By day, he's the UFC Director of Canadian Operations, and it's our pleasure to welcome Tom Wright.
Thank you so very much, Peter, and what a thrill it is to be back here in Calgary. I can't tell you how excited I am to be able to be here in Shaw Court to have an opportunity to introduce the main event card for UFC 149 presented by Sport Check here at Shaw Court. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank Peter for not only his kind words, but for the long-term relationship that the UFC has with Shaw. Not only, Peter, have you opened up your organization and your beautiful facility here, having all your employees, but as you mentioned, we've been a long-time partner of Shaw. Interestingly enough, Shaw first broadcasted on pay-per-view UFC 2, which would have been back in late 1993 or 1994. And that partnership has only grown since then. So thank you very much for opening up your organization, for introducing us to Shaw Court. And on behalf of the media here today and our two great fighters, I can't thank you enough. Peter was mentioning earlier about how excited we are to be bringing the UFC 149 to Calgary on July the 21st at Scotiabank Saddledome. It wasn't 5 or 6 weeks ago that Dana White and I were here announcing not only that we're coming here, but we were also coming to Canada, to other cities across our great country during this year. Peter mentioned we'll be in Toronto for UFC 152 in September and in Montreal for UFC 154 in November. We've also made this long-term commitment to Canada to bring 3 of our premier global events to Canadian cities during 2013 and 2014. And it's a reflection of how important our sport and how well-loved our athletes are that we're able to make this long-term commitment to the country of Canada and to great cities like Calgary. So I can't thank you enough. And you speak of Calgary, and people have asked me, so why coming back to Calgary? We all know it's a world-class city. These guys are going to have a chance to really experience everything that makes Calgary such a great part of this country. The 100th Calgary Stampede is going to be celebrated just before us. The 1988 Olympics were here. All world-class facilities are here, and we couldn't be happier to be able to bring our great fighters, our great athletes, and our great events to this great city. So with this in mind, it's my pleasure to be able to introduce our the main event for UFC 149 presented by SportCheck in July. On my right is the current and defending featherweight champion of the world from Brazil, Jose Aldo. Jose is a remarkable athlete. Jose is 21-1. He has not lost since 2005. I think I was with the CFL back in 2005. He's a remarkable athlete. He represents Brazil so well, and we're very fortunate to have him on this card. And it's an exciting opportunity for everybody in this city to have a chance to see one of our best pound-for-pound athletes. You know, he's often talked about being in the top 5 pound-for-pound. I put him in the top 3 of our pound-for-pound fighters. He's running a 14-fight win streak. And last time we saw him here in Canada was at UFC 129 in Toronto, where in front of 55,000 fans he was able to defend his championship. He's since defended it again in UFC 142 in Brazil. So it's great to have Jose Aldo here, and welcome Jose to Calgary, welcome to Canada, and I'm sure you're going to have a good time. Now before we hear from Jose, it's my pleasure to also introduce Eric Koch, who by no means is any slouch when it comes to our sport. Eric himself is 13-1. He is riding a 4-fight win streak, and 2 of those fights he's won by knockout, and he's won them by knockout of the night. He's an Iowa boy who's living now out of Wisconsin, but he knows our sport. He's a great athlete. He will absolutely be representing the United States when he comes here to fight on July the 21st, and we couldn't be happier to have Eric going up against Jose in our main event. And so I'm actually going to ask, before I speak about some of the other people on the card, I want to make sure I introduce to the crowd Nick Ring. Nick is from Calgary. Stand up, Nick, and say hi. Nick's on the card. He's Calgary's own, and we're really looking forward to having a chance to watch him against Court McGee, the winner of Tough Season 11 in a middleweight fight earlier on in the card. So we'll have a chance. Everybody have a chance to speak with Nick after we've had a chance to hear from these guys. So at this point, I'd like to ask Jose to say a few words.
Me sinto muito bem, né? Eu acho que é a primeira vez aqui em Calgary, a segunda no Canadá. primeira foi na luta lá em Toronto, que gostei muito, acho que foi um recorde até hoje no Ultimate, né, 55 mil pessoas e tá aqui nessa cidade, estou gostando bastante, gostei da reciprocidade que eu tive aqui em Calgary, estou muito feliz de fazer essa luta principal, né, em Calgary. Então é isso, tomara que todo mundo prestigie, que eu acho que vai ser uma grande luta. O Eric é um lutador que procurou luta em pé, então a luta vai ser boa, que eu acho que não perca, que vai ser um show pra galera.
So he's very excited to be here today, and he can't wait until July 21st, the day of the fight. He really enjoyed being in Canada. It's his second time. The fight in Toronto really impressed him, the crowd, and he loved the Canadian public. And he's very excited to be fighting with Eric and to be defending his title. And he's ready to put on a big show.
Great. Thanks very much, Jose. So you, Eric.
I just want to say, whoa, sorry about that, guys. A little testy. I just want to say, from the day I've been here, man, all you guys are awesome. Canada's got great. I got great fans in Canada, and all down to earth, really nice. I've been here a day, and I swear I could move here. Just an awesome experience. I also want to say I'm very excited to get the fight with Jose. And we just put on a show, man. UFC 149, I think it'll be a remarkable fight. I think they picked a really good fight for the main event. And you guys will be entertained. So I just want to say, everybody in Calgary, everybody in Canada, thanks for having us, and thanks for hosting, being such a great host at that.
Thanks, Eric, and thanks, Jose. You know, when back in March, when Dana came up and he and I introduced the fact that we're just coming to Calgary, you know, Dana talked about how he was going to bring a stacked card to Calgary, and Dana has this real appreciation and understanding of how important the Canadian market is to the UFC, and how knowledgeable and how avid Canadian UFC fans are. And so not only have we brought a championship bout to the main events, five rounds, of course, for the featherweight championship of the world, but we really have a stacked card. We not only have a current UFC world champion, but we've got two former UFC world champions. We've got Big Nog, Antonio Rodrigo Minotauro Nogueira. He's our former heavyweight champion, and he's going to be fighting against Czech Congo from France. Shogun Hua, the great light heavyweight fighter, who actually has fought several times in Canada. He's going to be fighting. He's another former champion against Thiago Silva. Not only do we have two former champions and a current champion, we've got two former winners of TUF, the Ultimate Fighter, on this card. Michael Bisping, who won season 3 of the Ultimate Fighter, and he coached on season 9 and season 14 of the Ultimate Fighter. He's fighting Tim Bosch in a middleweight fight. And then, of course, we've got Court McGee, and I was mentioning about Court earlier, and he will be fighting against Calgary's own Nick Ring, and that fight is going to be a bit of a redemption opportunity for Nick, because in that fight, in that TUF season 11, Nick and Court actually fought, and Nick won. He won early on in that TUF season 11. But then Nick later on got injured and couldn't complete it. And as it turns out, another fighter got injured, and they brought Court McGee back in. And who ends up winning season 11 but Court McGee? So now we have an opportunity. I know Nick is looking forward to that opportunity to have a bit of a redemption and to really settle some scores from season 11. So I think that's going to be fabulous. You know, and we talk about how, I mean, Dana's often said how, you know, Canada is this mecca for mixed martial arts, but I can also tell you that what we've done, and we've worked really hard, is to try to bring the world to this fight. I mean, not only do we have Canadians and Americans on this fight, but we've got 6 other countries from around the world represented. Of course, we've got Brazil, and several Brazilians are on the card. We've got Michael Bisping from the UK. We've got Czech Congo from France. We've got Australians. We've got Finns. We've got our first Afghan fighter, Sihar Bahadurzada, is on this card. And that's just a reflection of how this sport has grown and how much it represents a globally growing brand in a sport that we're so happy to have the opportunity to bring to Calgary, a world-class city on its own. Now, before I open it up to questions, I also want to make sure that everybody is keenly aware. I know whenever we have a fight in Canada, I lobby heavily with Dana and our matchmakers, Sean Shelby and Joe Silva, to make sure we've got great Canadians on the card. I've already had a chance to introduce Nick. We've got Mitch Clark, who's 9-1. He's the first fighter from that province just to the east of us here, called Saskatchewan. He's actually fighting now out of Edmonton, but Mitch is going to be here on the card. We've got Mitch Gagnon, who's also fighting. We've got Antonio Carvalho from Oshawa, Ontario, and Ryan Jimmo, who's from New Brunswick. He's now fighting out of Edmonton, who's got a 16-1 record. He's also on this card. So we're really excited about it. We're committed, and we always were to bring a world-class and a stacked card to this city. And it all starts with these two guys on my right and my left. And with that, I'd certainly like to open it up to the audience for any questions for all three of us.
I'll start off first with Jose. By the way, Tom, good job pronouncing CR's last name. It's a running joke with the media trying to get Bahaduzada right, so good job with that. Jose, there was a lot of talk that, you know, Hatsuhioki and a bunch of other guys were mentioned. Eric Koh came as a bit of a surprise to many of us. What were your thoughts when Eric was offered to you, and how do you stack up against another southpaw?
Para mim não foi nenhuma surpresa. Eu acho que o Eric é cara que vem bem ranqueado. Então fez por merecer onde que ele está. Todo mundo cogitou vários nomes, Rioc, Poirier, então, mas eu acho que o Eric fez por merecer. Eu acho que nada mais justo dessa oportunidade para ele.
He thinks that it was actually a well-deserved nomination. Eric has a good rank, and he wasn't actually so surprised. Even though there was some other interesting names, he's up for the challenge.
Até porque o Eric já vinha lutando desde o WC, então ele já vinha numa longa caminhada, então nada mais justo que ele chegou a hora dele disputar o cinturão agora.
He thinks it's fair that he will now be going up for the title because he's been coming through a long run of several fights previously with the WCA.
Next question's for Eric. Eric, walk us through when you first got the news that you'd be challenging Jose for the title. And the first thing that went through my mind is when you and I joked after the SNL fight that I should never turn my head away from the octagon because how quickly you knock people out. For people that don't know, this is going to be speed versus speed here. So can you break down the fight as well?
Well, first of all, I'll say when I found out I got the fight, I mean I've been trying to get a fight just because it's for the title. You know, this is my dream, and I've been trying to get it for a while. And when I got the call, I'll tell you, I literally went into my living room, got down on my knees, and just screamed at the top of my lungs, man. It's just, it's awesome. You know, this is 23 years in the making. I've been doing this since I was a little kid. And just to be here and to get a chance, especially against such a dominant champion who, you know, is just an awesome champion. It's an awesome test, and it's an awesome challenge. So I'm just really excited.
Hi, Eric. Kevin Smith, Global Television. Welcome to Calgary. Can you just expand on what you talked about earlier, the fact that you're going to be fighting here in Calgary, a place that has never seen a UFC fight before? Does that add anything extra special for you, the fact that you're showcasing your sport for the first time to people here in Alberta?
I mean, it's definitely, for me, it's just awesome to, you know, first card in Calgary to be on the main event. It's just awesome, man. It's an honor. Breaking ground, you know, I get a title fight and I get to do it in Calgary, and you know, like I said, you guys are awesome here. I've been here a day and I already feel like I'm at home.
Hey there, good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Calgary, of course. My name is Camilla Di Giuseppe with CTV Calgary, and my question is, seeing it as your first bout in our city, the elevation is pretty high. We're way up there. How will it affect your fight at all, or how do you prepare for it?
Is that towards me?
Towards both of you.
Both of us.
Thanks.
Okay.
Para mim não, eu já lutei já em lugares mais altos ainda, então para mim é tranquilo, não vejo problema nenhum. Eu até gosto de lutar assim.
He's not too worried about it. He's fought in places that were of higher elevation, and he actually likes it. He likes the challenge.
I guess I'd say the same. You know, we're fighters. We train for this, so you know we'll be ready to go, for sure.
Over here, Dave.
It's just a question for Eric, just over here in the corner, Eric. Dave Rowe from QR77. Just what do you think it is about Canada that makes it such fertile ground for the UFC? Why are you guys so popular up here?
Man, honestly, I don't even know. I know I fought here once before. I fought in Edmonton, and when I came up here, I mean, the fight fans were crazy. I don't know what the deal is. You guys just love fights, so if you like fights, we want to bring you some good ones.
Hi, Mike Tarasco from 660 News here in Calgary, and the question for both the fighters. I don't know if you're aware of this thing we have here called the Calgary Stampede, and it's about a week before you guys fight. Are you planning on coming up before the fights to take advantage of any of the festivities that you can?
We'll have to see. I'm an Iowa boy, so you know, I like my stampedes and bowls and whatnot. So I might have to.
Eu não. Eu venho aqui para lutar o trabalho, então não dá tempo para mim de chamar muita atenção. Então eu tenho que estar concentrado na luta, que esse é meu trabalho.
He says he's going to be here to work. He's going to be all work, no play. So he's going to come here to be able to just concentrate on the fight and do the best he can.
I think that's a fair comment. I mean, you know, clearly, I mean, you guys would understand that. I mean, these guys will probably come into town, you know, on maybe the Sunday or Monday or Tuesday of that week, and they will be all business. But we really understand how much of a great opportunity the 100th Calgary Stampede is to really introduce that part of what makes Canada distinct to some of our fans and some of our athletes. And so we're actually going to bring up some guest fighters during Stampede Week. We're working with the good folks at the Calgary Stampede to get them involved in maybe some chuck wagon races and maybe some bull riding. I'll probably get beat up by Dana for even suggesting those things, but in the end, you know, I think that one of the things we've always tried to do when we hold events in Canada is to showcase this country, and it's a great country, and we should be all very proud of it. And every different piece of this country is distinct. And one of the things that truly makes Calgary distinct and Alberta distinct is the Calgary Stampede. So, you know, there's going to be a lineup of guest fighters who are going to want to be coming up here before the fight, and I'll look forward to maybe it'll be my first chance to come to a Stampede. I feel un-Canadian not having gone to a Stampede before.
Hi, it's a question for Jose. Jose, my name's Jose from Sun Media. Just really quickly, we just heard about Eric, how he sort of went down on his knees and was screaming, so happy to get the fight in Calgary. There was talk of your fight happening in Brazil. I'm just wondering, you know, what your thoughts were when you heard that you were fighting in Calgary.
Então, houve essa conversa, sim, para lutar no Brasil. Achei ótimo, né? Eu acho que a torcida lá ajuda bastante. Mas eu já tinha na cabeça que a minha luta ia ser aqui, né, em Calgary. Então eu já estava treinando para essa luta aqui e para mim não mudou em nada. Eu acho que os fãs canadenses são ótimos também. Eles lutam junto com o atleta. Então para mim lutar aqui pela segunda vez é ótimo, principalmente agora em Calgary, que todo mundo vai me conhecer aqui, lógico. Tem um grande campeão, que é o George, que é o número 1, mas eu espero conquistar o coraçãozinho deles também, ali que tem meu espaço.
He's very excited to be able to conquer the hearts of the Canadian fans, as there is another fighter here, George, who has been able to do that. He'd like to be able to do the same. Originally, he was very happy to, you know, be able to have his fans in Brazil, but he's equally up for the challenge of, again, conquering the hearts of the fans here.
Will you be jumping out into the crowd after your fight here?
Não sei, aí a gente tem que pensar um pouco ainda, mas com certeza pode aguardar que assim quando eu vencer eu vou fazer alguma coisa voltada aos fãs, né? Que eu acho que eles sim que dão um grande show da noite.
He just will have to wait until the very moment where he wins, and then he'll be doing something just to thank the crowd for fighting with him.
E se o Dana permitir, né? Que o Dana é o patrão, assim, a última eu tomei um esporro, então acho que a gente tem que pensar alguma coisa que seja bom para os dois lados.
and that is if Dan allows him, because it has to be something that will be good for both people, for the crowd, for the entertainment people, and for the fans.
Yeah, I think Dana was a little upset with you last time. But if I could have one more follow-up question just to Tom. There has been talk, obviously Jason McDonald is in a fight in the next few days. There has been talk of Jason coming to have his retirement fight in Calgary. Are you leaving a spot open for him, or what's the status of that?
Well, you know, the truth is we are at the moment. I mean, the card is, we've announced 10 fights on the card, so we typically will have 11 or 12 fights. And you know, Jason's been a remarkable ambassador for our sport. You know, he's been a great representative of this country, and you know, as the athlete, I know that he's traveled across this country, and he's been really one of our pioneers. You know, he's from Red Deer. He'd like nothing better than to finish his career here in Calgary. He's just one of those great athletes that I think that if he comes through this next exhibition where Dana and Joe Silva will give him the opportunity to finish here. I'd like nothing better to see that. You know, he tells stories about when he first started training in the UFC in MMA, that there wasn't even a gym here in Calgary that he could go to. He had to go to, I think he went to San Jose to train. And now, you know, 12, 13 years later, there's something north of 75 MMA gyms that have opened up just in Calgary alone. And I would credit Jason as being, you know, partly responsible for that. So I'd like to see nothing better. He's been a great ambassador, and I certainly will be pulling for him, and I'll make a call to Dana right after his fight. Thanks, Jose.
Questions for Eric. Eric, many fighters tell me after they've competed in a main event that they didn't understand or realize how overwhelming it can actually be. What plans do you have in place, that you or Duke or the camp with Alan and Anthony, to deal with the fact that you're going to be co-headlining or headlining a massive card outside of your country?
Well, I mean, a lot comes with it. I mean, there's a lot more, and there's a lot more exposure and a lot of things I got to do. But to me, a fight's a fight, man. I've never really got super nervous before a fight. It's something I just love to do. So I don't think there will be really any jitters. You know, to be on top of my game, I know, you know, I got to be mentally sound, and I got to be in that right place, and I'm always good at getting there. So I really don't think I'll have a problem with it.
Okay, so if there are any more questions, before I actually ask these guys to square off, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, to remind everybody that tickets go on sale for UFC 149 presented by Sport Check, actually to the public this Saturday, May the 12th. They start at $85, and if you really want to get up close and personal with these two guys, they go up to $650. If you want to be a member of the UFC Fight Club and get to the front of the line, join the UFC Fight Club. You'll have an opportunity at 10 o'clock Mountain Time tomorrow to first buy tickets. And on Friday, the 11th of May, if you're a member of the UFC newsletter, you'll have a chance to get tickets as well. We've got, there's an autograph session tonight at the Boston Pizza at the Chinook Center Boston Pizza tonight. These two guys will be there, and not only will we have a chance to get close to some of our athletes as well as Nick, but you'll also have a chance to be with one of UFC's great partners, Boston Pizza. And then I want to remind the media that this afternoon, something near and dear to my heart, we're going to take these guys up to McMahon Stadium, and they're going to have a chance to practice some field goal kicking with members of the Calgary Stampeders. And we'll just see. A few weeks ago, we brought a couple of the Stampeders out to a gym, and they had a chance to spend some time with Nick and some of our other fighters, Mitch Clark. And so this is the chance to turn the tables, and we'll see how these guys do when kicking footballs from 45 yards into a nice stiff breeze at McMahon. So thank you very much again for coming. Peter, thank you again for opening up Shaw Court and your organization and for your long partnership with us. And so I'm going to ask these guys to step up. I'm going to square them off, and then we'll have a little action after that.